Well, hello everyone and welcome back to another video of the F1 2021 Driver Career Mode with Williams, episode number 16 today for the final time in Season 1. If you missed any of the previous videos, then I recommend go and check them out and subscribe if you're new to the channel. See plenty more F1 2021 Driver Career Mode. We're going to put a couple of aero upgrades on as well, and they're not going to come in for this race, so but you know, it's just to try and get them on and fulfill those R&D points up as well. That's going to be the final upgrade, so nothing has changed really since the Mexican Grand Prix, thanks to the quick turnaround really between those. No upgrades for any of the teams, other teams as well. So yes, moving to qualifying then, we're down in P18. Have slightly adjusted the AI for this episode after it was a little bit too easy at Mexico for me against the AI, although we did get a little bit lucky. I'll admit, other episodes where we have qualified, in the United States we actually qualified P5, so we have been lucky throughout this season, and I don't think for the large majority of the time we've had a representative performance really compared to where the cars. We've got very lucky at times as well, and managed to get a win in the podium. But anyway, back to qualifying. Our lap, it's alright with 2/10 up. It's not going to be the best lap in the world. Probably driven a lot faster around Brazil in previous seasons, but and on previous games. But you know, for a first attempt, I mean, it's with 2.5 tenths up on our previous best time. As we run up to the line here now, can we actually gain anything through this final sector? Not really, no. And in the end, I think that is only P17. So yeah, a little bit back to normal. A little bit of 2x2x2 there, unfortunately. 2 Mercedes, 2 Red Bull, 2 McLaren. Perez once again ahead of Verstappen, as he has been this entire season. And Norris is starting to drop off as well. But we're down in P17. We'll see what we can do. It's time though for the race, today's Brazilian Grand Prix.
Formula One returns to Sao Paulo once again with the stage set for what promises to be another classic Brazilian Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel famously clinched his 3rd championship here in 2012, and in 2016 Max Verstappen treated us to one of the finest wet weather drives of all time. It's an unusual anti-clockwise race here at Interlagos, where the Sao Paulo locals are packed into the grandstands at each of the 15 corners around this classic 2.7 mile circuit. 2 very fast sections bookend the famous and highly technical Sector 2, where getting a good run out of Junsao into one of the 2 DRS zones will be the key to any overtaking prospects today. And as always, a man with plenty of racing experience joins me in the commentary box. Today it's Anthony Davidson. Tell me, Ant, you're no stranger to surviving the melee of Turn 1, so how do you keep out of trouble when there's so much going on around you?
Well, the throttle goes both ways, Crofty. You've got to have the discipline not to try and win the race on the first lap, so always be prepared to lift early and give those around you more space. Trying to be the last of the late breakers with half a dozen cars around you may pay off from time to time, but it's also a great way to lose your front wing.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Perez, Vettel, Carlos Sainz and Stroll, Gasly, Verstappen, they've taken a grid penalty, Giovinazzi and Daniel Ricciardo, Raikkonen, Norris, Williams and Russell, Leclerc, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Fernando Alonso, Yuki Tsunoda, they've taken a grid penalty, and Esteban Ocon, Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out. Then let's see who can prevail today.
Let's aim for a strong finish to the season.
I think we can. We've got some luck again on our side. We're up in P13 today, so we'll see what we can do. Russell's in P14, so we're hoping for a good position for him. Now, there was a forecast of rain for the end of the race, so I thought we might as well have a little gamble and do the medium to soft strategy and see what happens. So we'll see how that goes. Whether or not the rain actually comes is another thing. But anyway, fight for lights are out and away we go. And it's a mediocre start. Norris gets the better exit. We're trying to force him to the inside here, and he actually makes a bit of contact with Gasly. I think that is in the AlphaTauri, but we've managed to negotiate turn one a little bit harrily on the inside line and get ahead of Giovinazzi, who's back in front of Russell. Unfortunately was behind us, and died on the inside of Carlos Sainz, who has had a poor start. He was up in I think P5 he was, but yeah, one of them, I think it's Ricciardo in the McLaren, is slowing everybody up. So almost running in the back of Gasly in the AlphaTauri there. Lucky not to freeze off from him, but there we go. But this is a replay from the start with Sainz, and how his poor start really. He got a poor start. The Aston Martins, both of them, making it, and then he gets. Well, they got Verstappen, and I think that's where Ricciardo picked up his damage, going 3 wide there at turn 1, and then Sainz, Norris, and Gasly also going 3 wide, and he just loses the position. But Sainz, of course, isn't going to give up. Ricciardo's been in, so we've gained a position on Ricciardo. We're going to shove Sainz out, and that's going to allow Giovinazzi to get in front of Sainz. So. Yeah, it's not a great rate for Sainz, but Sainz does eventually come back at Giovinazzi. It takes him a couple more laps to get in front of the Italian, and now of course he'll want to get in front of me because I am very slow. The medium tyres on this game are just horrendous, especially in this career mode of ours. They just the soft tyres are a lot better, and once again we force out. We're forcing it, trying to force out. Sainz, who's back ahead of Giovinazzi, but Giovinazzi gets back in front of Sainz in exactly the same fashion with that weird. But once again, Sainz has another go, trying to go around the outside. That's going to allow Tsunoda, of all people, he's come out of nowhere to try and get involved, and he's going to try and go around the outside. I think Sainz is going to run him out of the road on the exit. So we're coming in at the end of lap number 8 to get rid of these mediums. I was asking my engineer to see when's the rain coming, and he kept giving me the same answer lap after lap, 10 to 15 minutes, and this race isn't going to be that long. So I don't think, unfortunately, despite the fact I did do a rain dance and hope that some of the rain of Belgium could have come here instead of yesterday, instead of being in real life. We could have used it in the game, but yes, we jumped to lap 12. A couple of people have now made their stop. Sainz has now made their stop. We're unable to catch Ricciardo, who was undercut us, but whether or not those mediums will be able to go to the end, we'll have to wait and see. However, so it seems that Brazil is a high fuel problem. I put half a lap worth of fuel over, which is the usual amount. Obviously there's no rich mix anymore, so you can get away with less fuel, but it seems that we've used that half a lap. So that's very interesting to see. As we jump to the front of the grid then, Hamilton leads ahead of Bottas. It's Sebastian Vettel in 3rd place. Aston Martin finally living up to Aston Martin's potential after they were the 2nd fastest team at one point and now the 3rd fastest team on the grid. As Sainz, I think, has developed an issue, and that's going to allow Fernando Alonso to get past his fellow Spaniard, and indeed he does. And Alonso moves up into P11. But that was the race. The fuel problems meant I had to lift off in the middle sector, so obviously, and that and the tyre wear meant that I couldn't actually catch Ricciardo in the end, which was frustrating. I think we could have got him for P9, but it's another point, but it's P10, so again, that's more realistically where the car is today. Probably would have been behind Sainz if he didn't have such a terrible start, and if he wasn't so slow at the start. We couldn't probably maybe not been able to get in front of him, although Ricciardo was backing everyone up with that earlier stop. And George Russell, I don't know what happened to him. He just disappeared. Like, he just had no pace. The Alfa Romeos had no pace as well. We got some people came from the back of the grid with engine penalties as well. So in the end, it's another point. It keeps us ahead of Ricardo, and P7 in the championship is definitely more points than I would have ever thought we would have managed to get. I thought we would. I thought we would have got points, but I did not think we would have get 116. I thought we'd have got like 30 maybe if we were lucky. But yeah, to get a race win and a third place as well is fantastic, and it's 5th place in the championship for Williams as well, which is great news for them as well.
Great work out there today. Let's have your thoughts. Did you struggle to get through all that traffic today?
No, well, we didn't have a lot of traffic, to be honest. We only made a couple of places.
We all underestimated you, didn't we?
We got very lucky, Claire, over the season, and today's episode brought us right back round to earth. So yeah, as Claire mimed something there, I'm saying thank you for her time, thank you for wasting mine. But yeah, that's season 1 done. Season 2 won't be coming out starting this week, I should say, because I'm slightly behind in the modding, and I want to get that looking a little bit better than it is at the moment. I've got to do a little bit of other stuff with, apart from the liveries as well, just to make the career mode worth it for season 2. So season 2 will be coming out next week with a double episode, but there will be other videos coming out for the remainder of this week as well. But yes, that's season 1 done. I can't believe we've managed to get our first win and our first podium in this season as well. We've been very lucky at times. I mean, we've had, remember the 9 front wing changes at Azerbaijan as well. I mean, we got very lucky with the weather as well at Zandvoort, allowing us to win, and obviously Russell slowed everybody up at Singapore to get us that podium. But yes, if you have enjoyed this first season, and indeed this episode, then leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and you see plenty more F1 2021 driver career mode videos into season 2. Once again, thank you also for the people that voted on the career mode, the calendar vote as well. We'll reveal the results of that in the next episode. Until then, the next video, I'll see you next time. Take care, enjoy your day, and goodbye.